Picking the genre can make or break your indie dev dream. Hey indie devs, welcome back. This is part 2 of our ranking series. Now in this video we are looking at the genres that aren't always considered the core genres like platformer, shooters or RPGs, but they are absolutely worth talking about because they are blown up recently or are showing signs of becoming huge in 2026. Like before, each genre gets 2 rating, how easy it is to develop, whether you should consider making it in 2025 or 2026. The ranking I will give is purely on my research, prototyping and looking at what's trending for solo devs. So just take this as a grain of salt. The goal of the video is to just give you an idea to get started. Alright, let's dive in. The first we have are extraction shooters. Extraction shooters are having their moment, inspired by Escape from Tarkov, Hunt Showdown, and even newer titles experimenting with the loop. The gameplay is all about risk versus reward. Drop in, collect loot, and escape before dying. For indies though, this is a brutal genre. You're dealing with multiplayer, networking, progression system and inventory mechanics. That's a tall order for small teams. The upside, it's still early days for indie attempts. Players are hungry for lighter, more accessible versions of these games. If you can find unique spin, maybe stylized art or single player variant, you could stand out. So for development point of view, I would rate it D because it is very tough, especially for solo dev to handle all those things in very short amount of time. Whether you should consider it in 2026, I think it should be A because it has a high potential, but only if you somehow lower the scope of it and add a little bit of innovation in it. The next we have is cozy games. Cozy games are opposite of high intensity genres. Some new popular titles are Tiny Glade, Is This Seat Taken, Down to the City, etc. These games thrive on charm, atmosphere, and feeling of comfort. They usually don't demand crazy mechanics, forming relationships, or light building is enough. But what matters most is polish and consistency. Cozy audience is massive and still growing, especially on PC and Switch. The challenge is that cozy players expect personality. If your games feels generic, it won't connect. So for development point of view, it would be in the B tier because it is achievable with smaller scope, and you should consider in 2026 straight to the S tier, one of the strongest picks right now. Next we have social direction party games, or some would call this a friend swap games, the recent term we heard all on social media. We all know that Among Us did bag in 2020. It literally defined this genre for indies, but party game space is still very alive. Think of a games like Human Fall Flat, Gang Beast or Goose Goose Duck. The fun isn't about competitive skills, it's all about silly physics, chaos and laughing with friends. Players love this because they are stream friendly, hilarious, and easy to pick up. The great recent example is the sledding game, specifically its demo just launched that peaked over 2000 players within just few hours of launch. It didn't need a huge scope, it just nailed that play with friends, make a mess, and laugh formula. Challenge again is of course multiplayer. Networking and servers can be a nightmare for small team, but if you keep it simple or even design it around local co-op first, you can absolutely carve out a space here. For networking, another option is you can use peer-to-peer networking where one player hosts and other connect directly to their computer. That's actually the approach a lot of small indie multiplayer games use, and I think the dev of sledding game probably did something similar. So for development point of view, it would be in C or D tier. The main reason is networking and optimization will be the biggest wall. For 2026 consideration, yes, you should consider it. It is in the B tier. Still viable, especially if you lean into the friend swap style chaos. Next is Soulslike. Soulslike genre has basically become its own category. Players love challenging combat and high stakes progression, from Hollow Knight and Blasphemous in 2D to the Lies of P in 3D. The space isn't slowing down. For indies, a true Souls-like with complex combat AI and level design is hard to pull off. But scaled down version, maybe 2D, smaller worlds or creative mechanics, are still achievable and highly marketable. From development point of view, it would be in the C tier because combat systems are tough to nail. For consideration in 2026, straight to the A tier, still hot and still popular. People love to play these kind of games. Next we have is horror, psychological and survival. Horror is one of the safest bets for indies. Games like Phasmophobia, Lethal Company and Iron Lung proves that you don't need a top tier visuals to scare players. Atmosphere and tension do the most of the work. Streamers love horror. Small creepy experimental projects can blow up overnight. If you're good at sound design and pacing, this genre is perfect. From development, it is A tier because it is easily accessible for solo devs. For consideration in 2026, it is in S tier because horror will never go out of demand. The next is idle incremental games. These thrive on simple mechanics with exponential growth. Cookie Clicker, Realm Grinder, and new game about feeding a black hole is also becoming popular. This genre builds loyal fanbase by making numbers go up feel endlessly satisfying. The challenge is in long-term retention and creative upgrade systems. From development, it is straight to the A tier because very accessible for solo devs. Should you consider it in 2026? I would say yes, it's in the A tier. It is becoming popular and in demand, but you need to make even a simple thing so satisfying to pull this off. The next is Bullet Heaven Horde Survival genre. This is an opposite of bullet hell games. This genre is defined by Vampire Survivors. Vampire Survivors is technically a roguelike, but it created its own genre. One stick gameplay, endless waves, and auto attacks, players can't get enough of it. The problem? Steam is flooded with the clones. If you are entering this genre now, you will need either a different twist or wild new mechanic to break through. From development point of view, it is in the S tier because it is very easy to develop. For 2026 consideration, it is in the C tier. It's risky unless you got something unique or twist going on there. By the way, I'm currently working on a game in this genre, which is my weekend project. More on this in some later video. I'm planning to make a video on why you should have a weekend project along with your main project. But that's another topic. Let's move on. Next are city builders or colony sims. Rimworld's Timberborn and Against the Storm show how powerful this genre is. These games are about systems and resource management. The downside is complexity. You will spend months tweaking balance and building tools for players. But when done right, the audience is extremely loyal and passionate. From development point of view, it is in the C tier because you need a lot of systems to work together and you really need to balance a game. And one more downside is you really need to nail the art style of it. For 2026 consideration, it's in the A tier. It has a strong audience with growing interest. So those are the genres you should consider in 2026 or 2025, which is almost at end. Now a quick bonus point, mixing genre is also a great strategy, but it's double-edged sword. You can create something fresh, but you risk making a game that feels unfocused. Look at Hades. It mixed roguelike combat with strong narrative design and nailed it. The key is picking mechanics that reinforce each other, not compete for attention. If you made this far, thank you so much for watching. Comment below what genre are you working on or what genre would you love to try in 2026. If you haven't seen a part 1, go check out that video. It covers the core genres every indie dev thinks about. And don't forget, we have a free game design document template linked below to help you start planning your own game. Until then, we will see you in the next one.